Hello, everyone, and welcome back to our series on network documentation for newbies. So, today we're going to be talking about how to manage assets and devices. My name is Kenneth, and let's get started. Assets and devices, documenting them in our networking environment is very essential for visibility, maintenance, compliance, and troubleshooting. A good asset management system will help us, plan, procure, deploy, operate, maintain, and dispose IT assets effectively. So we would be able to plan how many assets we need to, procure, um, how frequent we need to get these assets, right? Both computing devices, networking devices, end user devices, and things like that. So those are included in what we're talking about. And we can also plan how to deploy them with the various locations where they are going to be deployed and the human resource that we have available to deploy our IT assets, and also how to operate and maintain. Very important, operating and maintaining these assets. This includes providing support for the IT assets that we've deployed, operating them to ensure that any security issues are fixed, updates, patches, and all of that is deployed on time. Another one is how to dispose of IT assets. So electronic waste, disposing of electronic waste properly is very, very important in our industry. So you should also plan on how to dispose effectively. That is what IT asset management will help us achieve. So number one thing that we need to do is choose a system that you would use to manage your IT assets, right? So one very popular one that we know is configuration management databases like ServiceNow has solutions for this. GLPI is one of them. We also have iTop. So you choose what one you're going to be going with, right? There are so many of them. These are just a few examples of the ones I've had experience with. Now we have ITAM tools as well, which are IT asset management tools like Landsweeper, Snipeit, and Freshservice as well. The next one is spreadsheets. So for smaller organizations where budget is an issue, or where you don't have ability to get some of these softwares, right? You can use spreadsheets. Spreadsheets work perfectly for small and low budget environments. Another one is infrastructure source of truth. So infrastructure source of truth are softwares or applications that act as a single source of truth for your environment. So where you typically have all your devices documented, IP addresses, services, things like this documented, interfaces, racks, power devices, everything are documented within your source of truth. Now, from your source of truth, you can automate various platforms. You can automate devices, you can automate platforms using APIs from your source of truth, pulling information from your source of truth, information like device locations, IP address, routing information, and all of that. Some examples of these are Netbox. We had a video on Netbox. The video before this one was on Netbox, so you might want to go and see that one. We have Ralph as well, and then we have Device 42. These are all solutions that you can use for managing your IT assets. The next thing we're going to look at is core fields that you would need to track when managing IT assets. One of the core fields you would usually need to track is the host name of the device. So, host name of a device, laptops, desktop, routers, switches, firewall devices, they all have host names, right? So you can use this host name to track the device. Another one is the IP address. So the management IP address of the device. Next one is MAC address. This is uniquely um, specific to one device. Now, for routers that would have multiple MAC addresses and other devices that will have multiple MAC addresses per interface, right? You can use, the base MAC address for that device, or you can use the serial number as well. So we'll get to serial number as well. Then we have the MAC address. We have device type, which is obviously the router, switch, firewall, server, and things like this. Then we have the manufacturer slash model. So you would have the manufacturer, which could be Cisco, HP, FortiGate, so forth, whichever device it is, has the manufacturer name and model, right? Then we'll have the serial number, which we've talked about. We have the operating system and firmware. which is very important as well. Purchase date and warranty slash expiry. This is very important. The date you've purchased it, when the warranty ends, and when the warranty expires, and also the device life cycle, right? So purchase date is very important to let you know, how long the devices have lasted. So some organizations would usually cycle end devices by 4 years or 5 years. Some organizations, depending on how it's structured, right? So they roll out those old devices and get new ones. So purchase date is really important. Next one is warranty and expiry, right? So the support that you'll be receiving from the OEM, right, would usually last some devices 1 year, 2 years, depending on, you know, the OEM and what device it is. So knowing that is important so that you know when there's a fault on the device, you know, if it's, you know, a fault that can be that can be covered by the warranty, so that you don't spend a lot on your hardware devices. Another one is location, rack, site. So where is the device? Where is it deployed? Where is it being used? So this could be location as per geographical location. This could be its position on the rack, and this could be the site which, you know, you've deployed the device. Another one is the assigned role. That is the purpose of the device. It could be a core device, it could be a web server, it could be whatever server, right? And then we have the owner slash responsible team. Typically, devices would have owners and responsible team, right? So this could also be a sub department in the IT team that is managing that device. So you could have your web development team managing a particular IT server. They might manage it in terms of updates, software, you know, deploying applications and all of that. But you also might have a responsibility in ensuring that the device is powered on, that any hardware issues are maintained and all of that. So you should know how to plan who is the owner of the device and who is responsible for the device. Next one is support and contracts. Just very similar to the warranty expiry, right? Your support and contracts, you can have contracts, support contracts with for a device, right? So support contracts in maintenance of the hardware, support contracts in replacement and things like that. So you should know how, you know, to document how long your support contracts are for and what are the details. Next one is configuration reference. So you might have a link in your, you know, your documents or in your IT management, asset management software that links to a repository where the configuration for the device is managed. Then the last one for this list is status. That is, if it's active, decommissioned, spare, um, set for e-waste and all of that. So your device management, IT management tool should be able to identify if that device is active, has been decommissioned, is leased, or whatever. So these are just a few of the fields that you can track. There's a whole lot more, right? There's a whole lot more. So uh, yeah, we'll move on to the next slide now. So there are methods of population, right? For IT asset management software. Some would take manual entry, right? So where you can use um, uh, for smaller organizations, right? Where you can enter the serial number, MAC address, and all those things manually. That is fine for a very small number of devices, right? But if you have a very large number and multiple locations, that may not be the best approach. Next one is batch import. So for organizations that already have a CSV file or an Excel sheet where they have an inventory of the devices and IT assets that they own and manage, they can modify it a bit to suit the population requirement of their IT asset management software. So your IT management software might just differ a little bit by the way they've structured the columns, right? So device name might come first, MAC address might come second, serial number might come third. So what you just do is to arrange that Excel sheet in that format, and then you can convert it to CSV and upload it on your IT asset management software. Another one is auto discovery, using tools like SNMP, WMI, or agents to scan and populate information on your IT asset management tools. Many modern IT asset management tools use this auto discovery to discover, devices that are in your network and add them without having duplicates. Next one is import scripts or APIs. So you can use automation in importation scripts as well to import devices from your network to your IT asset management too. The last one is QR code and barcode scanning. This will be part of the manual entry, right? So you use a QR code or barcode scanner to scan the devices, and once you scan them, it populates onto a sheet the information about that device, which would be what we've already listed in the previous slide. So let's move on to the next one. So some best practices that you would want to ensure that you have in place for your IT asset management. Use consistent naming conventions. Very important, right? Very important. Don't go naming switches, Cisco switch, and then the next one you just name it switch. So be consistent, right? So that you know what is what. So next one is automate discovery and updates where possible. To reduce human error, automate as much as possible when collecting data about devices that you have in your environment. Another one is back up your inventory regularly. Very important, goes without saying, right? Next one is tag devices with criticality, function, or compliance needs, right? So ensure that devices that have critical functions have those tags to ensure that they are easy to identify. So if they have compliance requirements, let's say they need to have a certain kind of encryption enabled, they need to have a maybe certain ports disabled or removed. So you need to tag these devices so you know you have that information. Now track changes via change control or commit statements, right? So you can track changes to when devices have changes or have some kind of modifications on them. You can use automation to make those changes within your IT asset management too. One is audit, ensure that what you have physically is the same thing you have in your IT asset management software. This is very important. You might have a different record on your IT asset management software and have something different physically. That is where the problem starts. Next one is keep documentation close to operations, link from monitoring dashboard. So documentation should be very close to operations, right? You don't have to search or go through lots of processes to know where the documentation is, so that if something changes and I need to change it in the document as immediately, I have access to it as soon as I need it, right? Okay. So we have optional enhancements like visual rack layout. You can use diagrams in some of your IT asset management tools to show how the devices are actually located or set up within your rack or within your environment. So power and network port mapping, so you can document power units and how they are connected and how they are mapped. These include your UPS, obviously, your backup power supplies and things like that. Another one is license keys, associate licenses with device for compliance. So you would obviously in your IT asset management to have a section or a menu for licenses, right? So it's good to associate these licenses to your device so that you know when your licenses are expiring, they notify you on the app or on your email and you're good to go. Linked diagram, topology maps, logical rules, and all of that. So it's good to have all these things connected so that you have a better view of your network. What I have in front of you here is an IT asset management tool called Asset Tiger. There's so many IT asset management tools out there that you can use. I'm not recommending anyone. I'm not being sponsored by any one of them. I'm just showing you that this is how IT asset management tools work. And if you're deploying it or if you want to have experience in IT asset management tools, you can try out any of these ones, right? So what you can see here is we have a very clean dashboard. You can manage your dashboard. In dashboard management, you can do a whole lot of things, remove items from the dashboard, add items to the dashboard, create new dashboards, and all of that, right? But that's not what we're looking at. So this is the dashboard we have at the moment, right? It just gives us a very clean interface with some information about devices, what devices are checked out, what devices are checked in, under repair. It's going to give you due dates, maintenance due dates, warranty expiry, and leasing expiry, all those things here, and a few breakdown of number of active assets, value of assets in total, and purchase in your fiscal year, right? So if we go to assets and go to list of assets, I've just added just one asset, right? You can see it right here. You see the asset tag or ID, description of the asset, the brand, right? The purchase date, the cost status, the asset is available. So we can change all of that. We can add more assets as well to this asset list. So if we were to view this asset, we would see more information about it. We see there is a catalyst switch that has 24 ports, and we have all this information that we can add for this asset by editing it, right? So if we go to events, events are things that have happened to this asset. It could be repairs, it could be maintenance, and all of that. We have the photo of the assets, you have the documents. Now in documents, you can add a whole lot of things, right? A whole lot of documents, from licenses to maintenance logs to, all of that. You can add all of that here. Um, you have the warranty information, which you can add as well. You can link asset linking. You can link to some other assets that are maybe parent assets or child assets, right? You can have maintenance information here. You can add that here. You can reserve this asset for something specific, right? So you can reserve it for something specific, and you can audit. You can put in the audit information, right, of this asset, when last it was audited, and all of that. And then history would show you basically history of what has been done on this asset. So that's basically it about an asset, and um assets basically. Now to add an asset, you can go here. On different tools, you would have different ways to add assets. So if you go to add an asset, you would see the description of the assets, just some of the things that we've been through already in the assets tracking list. Have the asset tag slash ID, purchase from, that is the vendor you purchased from, purchase date, cost, brand, model, serial number. Then we have the device type here, access points, desktop firewall, all the device types that you can think of. And you have the manufacturer as well. So in some of these asset management tools, you can add manufacturers as well. You can add more manufacturers. And when you've added them, you can see them here. You can see them listed here. So we have sites, location, category, and department. So you have all of that. You can add the site where it's located, the location of the asset, category, department, and then you can add a photo to the asset as well. So that's basically how to, add an asset. So, and there's also opportunities to import assets using CSV. We'll go through that in the next two that we're going to look at, right? So we're going to look at checking checking out. Okay, checking in, that is when an asset has been used by someone, right? They've checked it out. Obviously, if you want to check it out, you'd obviously select the asset and then check out the asset, right? And then add to list, and then check out where is it going to, what location, what department. Check out notes, any extra information you might have. If you want to send an email, right? Check out date, assigned to. Obviously, you have people in your organization that you can check out these devices to, and then the due date, right? So that's the checkout. Then the check-in, if you've checked out any assets, you'd have them here, and you'll be able to check in the assets from here as well. You can also lease. So leases would take a longer time, and then you can return after you've leased. Then you have this dispose as well. When assets are to be disposed, you can just select them and map them. You can even export to an Excel sheet, or export and send to maybe your finance team, your procurement team, and let them know these assets are to be disposed, and they will do their own part from the list you've sent them, do all the computations, and probably get a vendor to come and, take the devices and dispose of them appropriately. So you can do all of that here. You can do reporting and a whole lot of other things. So these are the basics of using an asset management tool. If we look at another one from Freshservice, so Freshservice has a solution as well that gives you a very good dashboard as well. We are in assets and we are in inventory, and we just have one device right here, right? So in this one, you can click on the device to have the full details of the device, right? So it's obviously a desktop, and it was created by source by Discovery Probe, right? So I used a probe to find this device and add it. This device was not added. It was not added manually. This device was added automatically by using a probe. So the probe, you can install it on a server on your network, and your network and the probe would probe your network for devices and add them here. Now, once they are added, you can come to the assets and modify them one after the other. You see, it gets the product name, the domain, it's a workgroup device, the serial number, and all of that. So it tells you the Windows OS is running on, CPU cores, and all the information you need to know about this device, right? So you can do this automatically using a discovery probe. This is very, very possible. So you can see that the asset is not, we've not added a location to it. No one is using it at the moment. No department is using it, and all of that. So, but you can assign all of that by modifying the asset, right? You can assign all of that by modifying the asset. So you can assign all of that by modifying the asset. Once you've clicked on the asset, you can add all of that, the department that is using the asset, let's say HR, and then you get a user. Obviously, if you've added your users, you'd have a list of users that you can assign it to, who is managing the device, what group is managing the device, what location assigned on, end of life, and all this information can now be assigned to the device, because the probe just collects the information that is on the device, not all of that, all the other information that you want to have, like the location and all of that. Now you also have a section for contracts, right? So for contracts, so you'd have a contract name, obviously type, just like we talked about contracts, licenses, and things like this. You can log all of that on your platform as well. So you have the contract name, the contract type, the status, renewal status, contract number, vendor, and expiry. So you can have multiple contracts here as well with your various vendors, and you can track when those contracts would expire and all of that. This is important because you're going to get notifications, maybe via email or via desktop notifications, on when these contracts would expire. You can log a whole lot of other things as well, purchase orders, cloud platforms, and softwares, and all of that. So you have a whole lot that you can log here, even licenses, um, services provided by your service providers, service level agreements. There's a whole lot you can log on your IT asset management too. So one last thing I've not shown you on this one is how to add devices, right? If you go to add new, you can add a device, right? By having the display name, just filling out and completing this form. Basically, you say where it's going to be assigned, the location, department, used by, managed by, and all that information, assigned on, and information about end of life and all of that. You can add a device here. Another way that you can add a device is by importing, right? So if you have a CSV or an Excel file of um, your inventory of assets, you can add it here. So you just select asset type that you're adding, IT service, you have cloud infrastructure, you have data center, you even have I think network devices and ordinary hardware as well. All you need to do is download the template CSV to know how they've structured their columns, structure yours in the same manner, upload it, and it will populate all your devices within your um, management software, which is what we are looking at. So I think we've covered about everything. Thank you so much for watching, and please do like, subscribe, and share if these videos have been helping you. Thank you once again, and see you on the next one.